Warning, spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to recap a Korean crime and drama movie released in 2013, called Montage. The movie is about a kidnapping case that's been left unsolved for 15 years until the statute of limitation has expired. Suddenly, a very similar kidnapping case happens again. Will they be able to solve the current and past cases? Let's find out together. The movie starts with a flashback of an accident that turns out to be dreamt of by a woman, Ha-kyung. Two men ring her doorbell, she welcomes them in, and prepares an apple as the tape recorder plays the voice of a child begging for her mother, who we can assume is Ha-kyung. She was surprised but seems unfazed afterward as she brings the men a plate of apples. Apparently, the men are detectives who handled Ha-kyung's child, Seo-jin's disappearance. One of the detectives, Chong, tries to say something to her but gets taken over by his partner, Sik. Sik tells Ha-kyung that the statute of limitations for Seo-jin's kidnapping will expire in 5 days. After it expires, they can no longer arrest the person who did it. Ha-kyung is upset and tells Chong that he promised to solve the case as they leave her home. While reminiscing about the case, Chong goes to the crime scene where Seo-jin was found dead, and finds a white rose placed there. He calls Ha-kyung to ask if she or anyone that she knows had put it there, but she says no as only she and the police know about the crime scene's location. Sensing that it might be the killer, Chong goes through the CCTV footage with Sik, and sees the man who laid the rose there, although his face is unclear. Then, we see a montage of the detectives trying to track the killer, from finding fresh tire tracks and calculating his route, to looking for a driver who passed the same road as the killer and has dashcam footage. They finally find one, but unfortunately, the killer's car plate is covered, so they have to search for the car manually. It is now 9 hours until the statute of limitation. Chong is smoking outside while thinking. While his chief detective asks about his whereabouts to Sik, Chong walks down the street and sees a car with the same sticker as the killer's car. He checks the tires for a match with their evidence but sees a mysterious man under an umbrella who was watching him before rushing away. He follows the man through the market streets before losing him and finds him again in a restaurant. The man covers his face with a newspaper, and Chong plans to wait him out before Sik busts in the restaurant, proclaiming that Chong is a detective. This prompts the mysterious man to ambush him and run away. He hits Ha-kyung, who is at the market while being chased by Chong. The man manages to get into his car and drives away, leaving Chong frustrated. That night, Ha-kyung confronts Chong, saying that they can find the car even if the man was using a fake license plate. He's not so optimistic, as the statute of limitations expiration is only 2 hours away. He says it's all over, and Ha-kyung leaves in defeat. The next day, Chong is talking with the section chief when Ha-kyung calls him. The section chief says that Chong is probably leaving because of that case, but he denies it. He tells Chong that he did his best and to let it go now, but Chong is adamant to quit, so he packs his files and burns it all on a rooftop. He listens to the voicemail Ha-kyung left him, asking for the contacts of a list of people as her last request. Sometime later, at a parking lot somewhere, we see the kidnapper stealing a van and planning to kidnap a boy the next day. Fortunately, the boy got away just in time as his mother hugs him. At a playground nearby, an elderly man, Han, is taking his granddaughter, Bom, to play on the swing. He hears the house phone ringing, so he tells Bom to stay put as Bom's house is right next to the playground. He keeps getting a call, but when he answers, it gets hung up right away until he hears Bom screaming from outside. He runs to the playground, but Bom has already disappeared. The police immediately come to his house to investigate by setting up cameras and making Han show the place where Bom disappeared. Meanwhile, the kidnapper puts a voice changer on a public phone and calls Han to let him hear Bom's voice. He tries to get the detectives' attention, but they were too busy handling the case from the house. The kidnapper calls and Bom's mother answers. He seems to know that the police are there, but she won't admit it. He threatens to kill Bom right now if the police are still involved, and asks for a $50,000 ransom tomorrow before hanging up. After the stressful call, the mother passes out due to her heart condition, but fortunately, they got the kidnapper's phone location. They head there to collect evidence but regroup as there aren't many clues and no witnesses because the location is secluded. Sik has a hunch that the location is different as he heard cars in the background, but the others ridicule his idea. The chief tells Sik to look into similar cases instead. He sends an officer to get Han, but he had disappeared and left his phone on the swing. Back when Seo-jin's case had just expired, Ha-kyung goes to the restaurant where the kidnapper went to find more information on him. She finds his umbrella that has "Nari Bank" written on it. She goes to the bank teller who says they gave the umbrellas away to VIP clients last year. She then meets the teller to give her money in exchange for the VIP clients' information. She goes through the names and finds a few matching candidates, then leaves the voicemail to Chong asking for their contact information. That night, Sik finds out that the case has a similar pattern to Seo-jin's kidnapping, but since the case files are missing, he goes to Chong to ask for more information about it. Apparently, Chong still keeps the half-burnt files on the case and explains how the kidnapper got away with the money exchange. He says that he's doing the same crime as it is the perfect crime because he already got away with it once. The kidnapper calls Bom's mother again, telling her about the duffel bag for the exchange and also to look into an oncoming trash truck for proof that her child is alive. She finds a Polaroid picture of Bom there, and the police try to figure out where it's taken. Chong and Sik confirm with the chief that the kidnapper asked for the same exchange method, and the two go to catch the train that the kidnapper will take. On the way, Chong explains what happened after the exchange with Seo-jin. The police chief was more worried about tracking the money while leaving Ha-kyung alone as she records every call from the kidnapper. She gets another call, telling her to do another exchange for her car. She goes to the location and puts a bag over her head, but Chong's story ends there. Chong and Sik get on the train and look for the kidnapper, but Chong sees him waiting on a platform of the station before the exchange. He gets on the train, but they lose track of him as they arrive at the exchange station. Chong still tries to pursue him, but the kidnapper has already taken the ransom bag and leaves. The bag has a GPS tracker, but the kidnapper puts it on the rails so that it's crushed by a train and escapes towards the train yard. Chong, who has a feeling about it, sees him run away and the two pursue him through train tracks and cars. Finally, they manage to catch him, but when they see his face, it's Han. Apparently, the kidnapper told Han to go to a shed in the middle of the woods with his car. There, he heard Bom's voice from the shed and goes in, but it was just a mannequin and he was locked inside the shed until someone opens the shed and puts the instruction for Han to go to the exchange location wearing the uniform. They threaten him with Bom's life, including having to throw away the phone that has the evidence in it. The police who are interrogating Han are suspicious, and when the chief sees his cigarette, he orders an investigation of Han's home. There, they find a match for Bom's Polaroid picture background, and even his daughter says that he doesn't want the police to be involved at first. The police are so sure that he's the kidnapper and plans to do a press conference, with the motive that Han has a grudge against his son-in-law, but Chong doesn't think that Han did it. However, Han swears he's not the kidnapper, and even begs them to return his granddaughter to safety. He tries to convince Sik to look deeper into the case by dismissing the current evidence, but Sik thinks that Chong is just jealous of him. Not satisfied by the investigation, Chong visits the shed where Han was held and finds the recording of Bom's voice. He brings it to an audio technician, who finds a very faint sound that is the voice of the kidnapper. Meanwhile, Ha-kyung continues her investigation into the bank's VIP members, until she finally visits one person's home in the countryside. The owner isn't there, and she sneaks in and finds the wanted poster from Seo-jin's case, and a calendar marking the case's statute of limitations expiration date. While she's busy investigating, the owner of the house comes back and stands still in front of the door. Ha-kyung grabs a knife, about to stab the person. In the police station, they have publicly arrested Han while Chong is still adamant that they are letting a real kidnapper loose. The chief gets angry at Chong, saying that they even have a match of Han's voice with the voice from the payphone call. Still suspicious, Chong downloads the recording and brings it to the audio technician, and they find out that the kidnapper had actually used a tape recording from Seo-jin's case to call the mother and Han. Chong figures out that the real kidnapper in Bom's case must be Ha-kyung. We are shown a flashback when she was investigating Han's place, as he is the one who truly kidnapped Seo-jin. She was about to kill him, but then sees he has a happy family with a young granddaughter of a similar age to Seo-jin when she was kidnapped. So she decided to kidnap Seo-jin to teach him a lesson while also framing him for the crime so he can face justice for Seo-jin. In the present, Chong locates Ha-kyung and finds her bathing Bom in the backyard. He confronts her about the crime, and she said she needs Han to pay for his crimes 15 years ago, and that Chong wouldn't understand the pain she went through because of him. He goes to get Bom, but Ha-kyung begs to give her more time to keep Bom until Han's trials have concluded. Chong still brings Bom with him, but he visits Han in the prison right after. He confronts Han for his crimes 15 years ago, and though at first, he won't admit it, he finally does while saying that he only did it to save his own daughter, as he used the money for her heart surgery. He says that he didn't mean to kill Seo-jin, as we are shown that she ran away from him to the woods, tripping and falling down the cliff and onto the road. She got hit by Chung's car and died on the street. Han feels like he had paid for his sins that day and doesn't feel remorse, so Chung asks him if he wants Bom to come back safely to her parents, as she is currently with him. Han is surprised, but he cares a lot about his granddaughter, so he accepts Chung's terms to confess to the crime and gets imprisoned. Meanwhile, Bom is returned safely to her parents after the trial is finished, as they all think Han did it. The movie ends with a scene of Ha Kyung hugging the tree on Seo-jin's grave. No matter how you think you've gotten away with something, karma always comes back to you, be it good or bad. Ha Kyung decided to bring justice into her own hands by kidnapping her child's kidnapper's granddaughter. Do you think she did the right thing? Let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you next time.